3PO here from the Platformers, bringing you a first look at FolkSoul, also known as Folklore here in North America. This game is for the PlayStation 3. It was downloaded from the Japanese PlayStation Store. Features some very cool stuff from the people who brought you Genji. Although there are no giant enemy crabs in the game, there are some pretty cool things like some serious soul-ripping 6-axis action, which, if you say 10 times fast, will get you a free lollipop. The game itself is obviously very attractive. There's some very impressive stuff that's done within, and they have stayed away quite a bit from brown and gray, which pleases me. Quite a few grayed out options here, which seem interesting. Web browser, costume, but the one thing that we can do is new game, which we'll do now. We're immediately taken into a choice between two characters, Ellen, who we're not actually going to look at in this demo, cute as she is, and Keats. And Keats is obviously a very serious young man, British, with an overcoat. Game starts on a cliff. Now there's a cutscene in between here that we've skipped over, but the cutscene shows you a young lady falling off the cliff. So it's up to Keats to go down and find out what's going on. The majority of the text in the game is Japanese, which unfortunately I don't read, but it really doesn't hinder my ability to play the demo. We're later brought into a town, and inside a town is a tavern. Some very interesting things and some very interesting people going on in the tavern. Unique shapes and a talking rat. I like a good talking rat. Obviously a great deal of exposition going on here, but I haven't the slightest idea as to what it means. Unfortunately, I can't help you there. As soon as you go outside, you meet the Invisible Man, who has a book, and that book seems to tell you things about you. It tells you to head to a graveyard, and inside the graveyard you're asked to enter a portal which takes you to a strange land. The strange land therein seems to glow very green to begin with, and we're walking here for dramatic effect. Not everyone would like that. Fascinating cutscene wherein the character learns more about his true heritage. At least that's as far as I can tell. I think that's what happened to Michael Jackson. Clearly wasn't happy with the way he looked there, but we move onwards into this glowy green room, which takes you to a beautiful gateway. Very pretty. Now, one thing that you may or may not be able to tell here is the sort of fog and mist that kind of covers the game and coats it in real time. There's a lot of stuff going on here, which is very attractive. The colors are very, very vibrant over HDMI. I actually had to record this over component because my television won't output over HDMI. Pardon me, composite, not component. So the colors that you're seeing are actually quite muted in comparison to what the PlayStation 3 is capable of. Now the game revolves around ripping the souls out of your enemies and using their powers against them. The first encounter that you have earns you two powers. One is a shield, which you see there, and the attack power, which we just used earlier. So now we're going to go and attack this enemy here, and each attack weakens the soul and brings it further out of the body. When it is out of the body, you can press the R1 key and yank it using the 6-axis motion sensing directly out of the body and absorb the power for yourself, which is very fun, almost like a human proton pack. The question is, who are you going to call? Yoink. There's some much larger enemies in the game. This young gentleman has a vicious hammer attack. Use your shield there to protect yourself. And one more time as he slices sideways. Grab that soul and rip it right out. Not bad at all. Keats is British, for those of you who didn't catch on. You can obviously use the powers that you have absorbed from your enemies. You will assign them to the face buttons on the controller. And then feel free to attack your enemies with them and rip those souls right out. The game controls very well, and it's very fluid. There are times when you do have control of the camera, which can make for some very beautiful vistas. At the moment the camera's locked down, but still a good looking level to play in. Now this particular enemy is a mini-boss, which you have to time your soul pulls to when the color changes. So when he's red you pull, and when he's green you don't. That pulls the soul out of the body. You can see the meter there on the bottom. And there it is. And this is the power that you get out of that. There we go. This actually charges, so the longer you hold it down, the more powerful the attack is. It attacks multiple enemies. You do also get a bonus for pulling out multiple souls at once. So you can see here we've got one and there's two. If you lock onto both, and you can see there's a bonus multiplier there that will come up on the screen. The game is beautiful. In places it does look rather like a Monet painting. And, very satisfying to run through this world. That brings us to the end of the demo. There is, again, an additional character, which you can play, which we're not going to go through right now, but hopefully you've enjoyed this first look at FolkSoul, also known as Folklore. So, hope you enjoy this final little interaction between the masked man and our protagonist, Keats, who seems very upset that he can't play the game right now. And as the game says itself, thank you for playing. So I'm Graham for platformers.net. If you want to check out our podcast, we have a weekly podcast, and we do also have a very active community forum at platformers.net/forum. So check us out, and we hope you enjoy it. This has been FolkSoul.